the topic is come on, do something. Bitcoin says, which is a really interesting one from Ivan proposed. Maybe before we get into like what Bitcoin can do for us, like maybe we start with the question like, what should we do for Bitcoin? And let's just start at the left.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a personal question for everyone. You know, it depends on what you do, what your skill sets are, and how you think you can contribute. I think if I take the intention of the panel, I would suggest, you know, it's a question for people to reflect on and say how can they help either the adoption or proliferation of Bitcoin through education, through maybe even through the sophisticated art of meme warfare, or through podcasting, or through coding, developing, whatever it is, whatever your skill set is, go out there and help. And if you believe in the ideology and or you just believe that the world needs Bitcoin and the adoption of Bitcoin, however you can contribute is a good contribution.
Well, so apart from the fact that we don't have to do anything for Bitcoin because Bitcoin doesn't care, as we know, but we all want to see Bitcoin in the world, and we all want to have Bitcoin as a currency as soon as possible. So of course, let's spread the word. I think we can talk about Bitcoin to people. We can be a good example in the way that we like spread the Bitcoin ethos. We can use Bitcoin, try to use it on a daily basis. These very simple things, that are the things I focus on personally.
Yeah. So I just have to say that when I saw the name of the panel, title of the panel, I remember that meme. You guys know, with the stick? Come on, do something. So this feels like that. I agree. This is a very personal question. And depending on your skill set and what you are interested in, you know, you answer this question differently. For me personally, I agree that Bitcoin doesn't need us. We need Bitcoin. But Bitcoin industry needs us. And this is just a talent worker talking. So for me personally is trying to connect the right talent with the right role and to be that bridge of like allowing, I'm not a technical person, but even finding the right technical person to build something is a massive for me.
Yeah, it's really interesting because in the end of the day, Bitcoin is a social layer too. So it's not just the technical side; it's also the social side, and it's always I'm always a little bit triggered by this word of Bitcoin doesn't care, because I truly think Bitcoin doesn't care, but at the same time I know, like, if nobody has Bitcoin and nobody develops on Bitcoin and nobody does anything with Bitcoin, at some point it's like, yeah, it's a protocol that nobody uses. So to some extent, like, it doesn't need anyone in specific, but maybe it needs kind of like all of us to like still this is like an interesting point because like I have a very, very hard time to like put that in the framework that is punchy. It's very nuanced to say like it doesn't care about us, but at the same time it in some weird way it needs us still to like work on the industry, work on the ecosystem, working on the protocol, working on all of it, and like what the game theory kind of intends to do.
Yeah, but I think when we say the Bitcoin doesn't care about us, it doesn't, I think it just sounds very harsh. But the reality is Bitcoin will exist without us. Bitcoin will be perfect without us. Can we polish it? Can we, you know, develop the industry? Can we build on it? Yeah, sure. But I think it's just the understanding of that phrase. Bitcoin doesn't need us. I agree, Bitcoin doesn't need us, but Bitcoin community and Bitcoin industry needs us.
Yeah, slightly sort of more nuanced take on that, I think, as well, is that Bitcoin doesn't care also, to me, means that whatever ideology I decide to project onto Bitcoin is irrelevant. TikTok next block, you know, Bitcoin will continue, it will outlive me. If I want to treat it as freedom money and as something that serves an amazing purpose for people to exchange value globally, great. If I want to go down a hardcore store of value maxi route, then okay, that's fine. It doesn't Bitcoin just continues without us. However, it changes us more than we change it, to an extent, depending on how messy you want to go in terms of the engineering side of it. But, I can project my philosophy and my ideology of it to serve my own purposes, but it doesn't care at the end of the day, because it will do. Anyone else can do the same thing and get a different relationship with Bitcoin, a different outcome. So I think, it's an interesting turn of phrase. I do quite like it. It doesn't care. Leave your ego at the door. Just it will succeed with or without you.
We had a question here.
Yeah, I was wondering, since it's a personal question, how did you personally find out what it is you could contribute to Bitcoin and to the Bitcoin space?
So for me, it was, I always feel like I want to protect Bitcoin in a way when people speak rudely about it or have these misconceptions. So that is what I like to do when they say like it's so energy wasting and all these things. Then I try to explain, and I want to have them think positively about Bitcoin, not because Bitcoin does care, of course, but because it's good for me, because I love Bitcoin. I'm proud of that thing that it is in the world, and I want to participate in different ways. So I want people to feel good about it and to think good about it. So it's more like I want to help the reputation of Bitcoin to be a better one, which in the end is, of course, a thing we all benefit from.
Yeah, so in a similar way, my priority is to address a singular aspect of Bitcoin, which is the merchant adoption. I really believe, I used to run as a sideline to my previous career, every 4 or 5 weeks or so, I would run a training course on Bitcoin in 2017. So the history of money, it was essentially a poor man's version of the Bitcoin standard. When Saifedean wrote that and issued it, I had to sort of rewrite some stuff in my deck because he did a better job. But I would present that to a group of 30 or 40 finance professionals at a time. And at the end of every course, they'd say, look, this was brilliant. You've just spent 6 hours telling me why Bitcoin is money. But the thing is, I can't spend it anywhere. So it's not money, is it? And, I took that personally. So that's what we do at Muscat now. I decided to use the experience and skills that I have to build the toolkit that I think the world needs, or Bitcoin needs, to help merchant adoption. And then just by doing that, I can address that singular problem of Bitcoin is not usable as money. I said, well, actually, with the Lightning Network and with an integrated payment stack, yes, it is. So that was my sort of personal side.
Mine is kind of difficult to answer because I work in the industry for the last 4 years, and I think that now that business/personal is the same thing. It's what we talk about the panel. When I had a panel, presentation, I said, like work-life balance. Everything is life for me. Nothing is work. It's just life, right? But I don't know. I think it was just knowing that I have some skill set and I can contribute, and I'll never give up on that. I think serving people is very important. Yeah, serving Bitcoin, sure. But serving people to understand Bitcoin, to become better, I think that's more important. And everything I do is just around contribution. So when I mentioned I'm not a technical person, it was because for a long time, like 2016, 17, I thought if you are a developer, that's the only way you can work. Boy, was I wrong, obviously. But for a long time that stuck with me. And I think that even nowadays, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not a developer, but wait, I can still contribute. When in reality, we all do. We all do.
It's interesting when I listen to all the three, there's like one major theme that you always hear out of there. It's like, I care too much about Bitcoin to not fight for it. Like that's kind of the theme that I get from it. It's like, I want to spend my time, my money, my resources in this industry, and it's super interesting for me to notice, because I was the same way, and I'm like like, why is that even? Like, nobody told us to work for Bitcoin. Like, all Bitcoiners, I mean, maybe some do, but like, it's like, we come into Bitcoin and we really want to work in Bitcoin. And for recruiting, maybe also interesting, like I made in the early, I think February or like January, no, it was January this year, 2025. I had an editing job to do on my podcast, and I had finally enough money that I'm like, okay, I can afford that. So I was putting out a short tweet saying like, hey, I'm searching for an editor. And please just apply with whatever you think is necessary for me to know. I got 60 applications within the first 8 hours. And it was tremendous for me. I was completely overwhelmed. People got mad at me because I didn't reply to them. And then I tried to, like, within 1 week reply to them and set a bunch of meetings, and I found amazing people after all. But there is this thing that, like, why do we want so badly to work in this? Like I don't like. Is it the revolution? Is that because there's like a huge vision, and it's like I really have like a hard time grasping, like, and it comes from me because I also do all of my life in Bitcoin. Like, I don't know if you have answers for that, but like, why is there like such a huge thing to like, let's do something?
I'll take a punt at that one because I think I feel like I've experienced that myself. I feel like I've gone through the ego death side of it. You know, originally I saw it as something that I could make some money from and benefit financially from. But then I continued reading, and then I continued researching and realizing that actually this addresses so many of the problems in the world, sometimes in a direct way, sometimes in an indirect way. And I think, I don't know, maybe my experience is similar to others in the sense that I see something bigger than myself. You know, again, Bitcoin does not care. Whether I do this and we grow Musket to be an enormous company and merchant adoption succeeds because of us, well, it will anyway. If it wasn't us, someone else will do it. But I just saw something in a moment in time that actually I could take part in a system that I can potentially have a positive outcome in. It's bigger than myself. It fulfills a load of personal objectives, and it gives meaning as well to certain things. And I think if you boil down to it, what are we all here for? And it's productive work, nice family, good experience, etc., and a few other things thrown in the mix. But Bitcoin is bigger than all of us. So I think it just appealed to me personally that I could have a positive outcome in an industry that was very heavily developer and engineering led. That's not my background. So it was, I think, contribution to something that I saw as being great was the attraction.
I found it really interesting, by the way, in your talk today, that seeing the shift from developers towards like more operational, like kind of, it's almost like seeing the Bitcoin industry growing up in a sense.
Not in a sense. I think it is actually growing, because for years we were building, you know, developers. If you see one operational role that was like, wow. And then you have like 4,000 people applying to that one. But I think now, like, you can see that we grew as an industry. We built. Now we can advertise. Now we can spend some money on customer support. We can do all these things. It's awesome. I love it. But just to go back to like why we're all doing this, I will have to say again, because there's no work life. Everything is life. And you are getting paid for that, so it's kind of cool. Who would say no to that? Come on.
Any additions?
No, actually not. I think all what you said was so beautifully put. It's really that it's all these levels that resonate with you. It's not only one thing that is interesting about Bitcoin, but it touches so many aspects of your life that it's, yeah, you just can't pass by and go back to your ordinary life after once you really realized and felt what Bitcoin is and what it can mean to us.
And to fulfill the purpose of also the meme that maybe some people associate with, like, come on, Bitcoin, do something, because as you said, oh, that's actually like very true, because like then do you all guys know what meme you're talking about? It's a small meme with the God candle, and you you punch it in and then it falls on, like the head gets cut off. I don't know if I described it correctly, but this is kind of the meme we're talking about. And on that serious note, what influence actually has the price on the things that you're seeing in working Bitcoin at Muscat, or like at the recruiting, or like doing something in the grassroots level of Bitcoin? What kind of influence has price on that, and what is kind of like the role of the Bitcoin price that we are all looking at every single day, seems like multiple times?
I'm not looking at that price. I can't tell you.
I think it has an important role because, you know, when we engage a merchant, typically they may have a preconceived view. So we have to sort of have a conversation to them about the volatility of Bitcoin and why they should think exactly how you think. Don't worry about it. It will continue to go up and to the right over the long term. But you know, we have to take them through that education. So, but I think for us, it kind of serves as a marketing tool. You know, the number go up, attention, articles, you can get a lot more positive media spin from an asset that's appreciating rapidly and changing people's lives than you can when something's crashing. But equally, when something's crashing, there's a lot of narrative that you can spin or conversations that you can have. So, you know, bad publicity is still valuable. So, you know, for us as a company advocating for the acceptance of Bitcoin, it kind of helps us, whether it's increasing or decreasing, because it means that there's more conversation points.
I have an interesting take on that one. When the price goes up, I see more applications because, oh, that's cool. Oh, we're gonna make so much money. And then it's very difficult to realize, like, which one is it? Are you there for real, or is it just the price is going up? If I'm asked about the price, I don't care personally. I just hear throughout the house, buy the dip, and that's when I know the price is going down. But if you were to ask me how I feel about it, I honestly would love, please don't cancel me, but I would love for the price to go down to like 1,000. I would. I mean, come on, be honest to yourself, wouldn't you?
I'd buy it all at 5. I'm sorry, it's not going down to 1.
No. Oh, 20. Like, I would love to. So, and when I'm having these conversations, it's usually, you know, saying to people like, oh, I would actually love for the price to go down. It's like, and they just leave it there because they probably think I'm very weird. So, yeah. Exactly. That's like behind the scene thinking. Like, if you're asking me about the price dropping, you ain't here for the right reasons. If you're asking me about price going up, you ain't here for the right reason. So it's like, it's this mental game we play. But do I get a lot of questions? I do. It's part of the job.
But it's an interesting point, because I got that actually as a comment once. Because I said it also in my live stream. I want to actually have the Bitcoin price to go down, and my reasoning was like, I see the potential that Bitcoin has in 40, 50 years, and I see the freedom and the sovereignty that Bitcoin can bring, and I want to have as big of a slice of that as possible. And I just got started with my career. I'm like 27 years old. And my biggest fear is that I'm now realizing all what Bitcoin is. I'm trying my best to like accumulate as many as possible. But in my prime years, where you earn the most, it already ran away to $10 million. Like that's my biggest fear of like what is actually with the Bitcoin price. And so I really resonate with that a lot. Of like, I have no problem with the end of the year price of 40,000. Like, I have no problem at all, because I earn every month Bitcoin, and every month I get more Bitcoin because all my prices are denominated in US dollars or euros. So I get a bigger slice of the whole pie, and that's a whole game changer for me. And I guess that's why I kind of like the price going down, even though there's like always those two feelings of like, it hurts still, like I want to see the number grow, but in the end of the day, you really want to have that kind of freedom. If that answers that. Now I talked too much that I forgot about the
I
question.
was going to say, you're running the panel,
Nobody
Robin.
asked you.
I got the question and the
You're in
answer
our world now,
inside.
Robin.
But no, if we go back to the actual, like, come on Bitcoin, do something, and this feeling that we have, like, we want Bitcoin to do something and the price to do something. I think it's kind of interesting to look at that. But yeah, if there are no more audience questions, like this was like all of it, okay. Then we have one set of questions that Ivan actually gave me, and he's like, please put those questions inside, and I will just make sure we have all of that. And there's one interesting question that I was seeing before. He is saying, why is buying Bitcoin and hodling Bitcoin not enough? So kind of like why you actually have to build, like why just buying and hodling is not enough for you to like be a Bitcoiner.
Well, we actually said it already, I think, because we think all that this is such a cool and huge and important thing with such an impact that it's not just an investment for us. So it's not enough to buy something, but we want to participate and be part of that revolution, and we want to spread the word about it. That's just a normal reaction if we are really in love with something.
May I? I have a weird take. I think that's an ego trip. I do. Okay, hear me out. So you work in Bitcoin, you earn Bitcoin, you're contributing, and then you're still looking for ways to contribute. I think this is like a psychological question. Is it ego? They're like, oh, I have to do more, or I have to be the best, I have to do this or that, or is it like wholeheartedly believing, like, I really want to contribute? I think it's a mix.
Yeah, I think there's degrees of individual. There's probably a lot of people in the world who see it, understand it, believe in it, buy it, store it, spend the rest of their life doing other things. They have no interest in, and it may not appeal, the ideology or some of the problems and the deeper side of Bitcoin. So, there's probably a lot of people like that. Can you truly call those people Bitcoiners? Maybe not. I've just watched Alan Farrington's talk about whether Bitcoin is a cult or not. Undecided. It might
Totally
be.
is.
It might be a cult.
Totally is.
But I think it's not necessarily not a contribution to buy and hold, because you're still advocating for it and you're likely to talk to people about it. But I think there's degrees of an individual. Not everyone has to do and live their life and live and breathe Bitcoin. I love not doing Bitcoin stuff sometimes because it's all my life. So it's
who decided what's a good Bitcoiner?
Exactly.
Like, why are people who are buying, hodling, and living their life, why are they not as good as Bitcoiners as we are? That's where I think the ego may pump in sometimes. Like, I'm better, And I had a question today about hodling, because I hodl. I spend my husband's sats. I don't spend my sats. No, mine goes to cold storage right away. Like, as soon as I get them, cold storage. My husband's, they go to my wallet. So I spend his. It's a balance.
That's a very nice balance. What was the question again? Bitcoiners. Oh, Bitcoiners. No, I don't agree that what was that? A good Bitcoin. I mean, somebody who just hodls. For me, I would say it's not a Bitcoiner. It's a person who holds Bitcoin. But a Bitcoiner is something who really lives it and tries to have as much Bitcoin topics in his life, her life. So it's not one thing is better than the other. It's just, I wouldn't call that person a Bitcoiner, because if he doesn't read about it, talk about it, do nothing to have like interaction with other Bitcoiners or being in the Bitcoin space, and I would say, okay, that's a person who has invested in Bitcoin or saves in Bitcoin. That's it. I wouldn't that person call a Bitcoiner, but that doesn't make me better because I call myself a Bitcoiner. That's not about being a better person.
You
There's
mean
entire philosophy.
you won't let them inside the cult? You mean?
I let everybody inside.
I think that's the philosophy behind it. It's like, who says what is a good Bitcoiner? Where's the law? Show me. I want to see. I mean, if you're hodling Bitcoin, but you also have Ethereum and shitcoins, then yeah, you're not a Bitcoiner. But if you are Bitcoin only, and you live a fiat life, like you say, I don't know. I think it's like, it's the entire philosophy. But, you know, let's go back to that. Who says what is a good Bitcoiner?
And I think if we sort of bring it full circle back to the title of this panel, everyone can contribute in different ways. You know, some people can contribute because they are hilarious at creating memes. Some people can be an amazing trader. Some people can build unbelievable engineering and software that everyone benefits from. And I think, you know, I would argue that even one of the most valuable things that people could do is also run a meetup group and actually break that digital barrier and get people to introduce themselves in the physical space. Yes, that introduces a degree of OPSEC risk, but I think breaking that digital physical barrier is really valuable because, I mean, there's barely any Bitcoiners that I've met in real life that I really don't like. So I think most of them, 90+%, maybe more, I've always got on with. So it's it's a nice space, a nice group of people because there's this single ideology or this single thing that pervades us all. That we think actually this is bigger than us all. We want to contribute, and I think even arranging a meetup or even attending a meetup is good enough. And I think, it's an individual thing. If you want to contribute. If you don't, that's up to you. It's a personal choice.
Can I, as an interviewer, ask something? No, let's switch the roles a little bit. What do you guys think? No. What do you guys think? So the guy, killing engineer, working in Bitcoin, creating beautiful software to help spread Bitcoin, but he doesn't care about Bitcoin. Is he a Bitcoiner? What is he? How do I agree.
That's what I said. If it doesn't feel it or resonate really with all these things Bitcoin is about, then he's just working in that industry, but it's not a Bitcoiner for me. So it's about the attitude.
One has Bitcoin. The first guy has Bitcoin and he's hodling it, but he's not working in an industry. And then the second guy has no Bitcoin, but he's working in an industry. I'm an interviewer. I'm so sorry.
I don't know whether we need to make a choice on that. It's and that's the beauty of it. Come back to your point at the beginning. Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin will take the things that it can, which is the amazing, beautiful code. It will take the reduction of sats available on the network so that everyone else benefits because that person's a hodler, and TikTok next block.
Perfect end.
Yeah, it's kind of in the same. What do you guys think about the definition of a Bitcoiner as someone that uses Bitcoin? Because if you think about any sort of IT system of what's a Facebooker, like a Facebooker, like someone that is on Facebook and uses Facebook.
I'm not sure we need the label. I think people are people. We're human beings. If you want to use Bitcoin as your mechanism of exchange, your medium of exchange to trade, buy goods and do whatever you need to with, then great. Doesn't necessarily make you a Bitcoiner or not a Bitcoiner. It makes you a person.
I love that.
Are there other questions in your phone? Let's see. No, because that one is really difficult. We can't go any. We don't make progress.
The next thing you know, we're here at 10 p.m. We're still.
One thing that I'm interested in, it's not there, but I want to get that in because we've talked about it, about the religious aspect of Bitcoin. It's actually something that I think a lot of people are turned off by that, why it sometimes feels that we are in a cult and why it is such a religious thing, and we are saying oh, this is a Bitcoin, and it's so weird how we portray our own values onto Bitcoin. Without this is actually being a thing. And so I just wanted to get that in, the religious aspect, because I think you mentioned that sometimes it can feel like a religion, and we might be in a cult, we might not be in a cult. Like, what did you mean by that?
No, I mean, I was more reflecting on Alan's talk about an hour ago. But I think, look, there are many different features about Bitcoin. My main takeaway is Bitcoin is bigger than all of us, and it will outlive all of us. But it does have some really interesting features. There's an entire lexicon and language and set of phraseology. We've just had an entire discussion about what makes someone a Bitcoiner. Well, you could apply that to what makes someone, a Christian, a Buddhist, or all of the sort of things that define a cult or a religion. What's the book that they follow? Well, we have a white paper. Who's the creator? Well, we don't know. It's a mysterious figure that we've never seen. Doesn't that sound like some sort of deity? So you can draw the parallels between it, and I think it's quite interesting, quite fun to do that. Probably unnecessary, but it does add to that whole story and the mystery that shrouds around it.
That's so interesting. With that being said, like all the questions are really really good covered with that one topic of common what can we do for Bitcoin, like what is a Bitcoiner, and all the religious aspect. So I just want to ask you all of three that getting one last positive message, one last message that you want to get across from this talk to the audience. Let's start at the right side today. Yes.
Oh, come on. You give me enough time through all of these questions to think about my answer. And now this one is going to be really...
You could ask him to start.
Yeah. No, I'm done. I'm done being an interviewer. No. Don't do that. It's okay. One pause. I did close my presentation with good things take time and Bitcoin is here to stay. So I'm going to pause there. Haha.
No, that was too short. I'm also not ready yet.
So I would say I'll buy you some time. I've got you. Look, I would say it's back to my first point. It's a personal question. No one needs or must do anything for Bitcoin. But if you are going to do something that, just educate yourself about it. Do the work, do the reading. Talk to your friends and family, and they are the hardest people. If you go through that experience of thousands or hundreds and maybe 1,000 hours of reading about Bitcoin, and then your mind is completely changed, and you then try and express exactly what Bitcoin is, the hardest people are people who are either really established in their careers and earning a lot of money, or your nearest and dearest. So, reach out to the digital community online, go to a meetup and take action that way. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. You don't have to build a wallet or an entire business. Just join in.
So my advice would be to surround yourself with Bitcoiners as as often as possible. No, just what you said. I think that is really one of the nicest parts of discovering Bitcoin, that you meet so many awesome people, whether it's on conferences, in meetups, in Bitcoin walks, or whatever. Maybe I'm doing a Bitcoin walk tomorrow in this beautiful town, by the way, maybe. And because that gives you so much energy, and there's so many awesome people you get to know. This is something I would really say, just try it. I would say that to that Bitcoiner style, I'm only a hodler as well, to these persons that come and meet the crowd. That's a good thing. And yeah, that's my advice. And then, of course, be kind, be patient, and spread Bitcoin with love, as I already said today.
Now I have to add something. Okay, so this one's going to be more work-wise. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not networking enough. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not contributing enough. If you're doing your best and you feel it in you that you're doing your best, that's enough. Don't let anyone else tell you that you were not selected for a role because you were not doing this or that. No, it's not you, it's the industry. It takes time, it will grow, we'll get there, okay? Just be patient.
Really cool, thank you so much.